energy bills are rising at a historic rate, and there's no end in sight. Talk to enough people and you'll soon realize nearly everyone's shocked at their recent electricity bills. Some studies reveal energy costs have skyrocketed by as high as 60% in as little as 2 years. That's why tens of thousands are installing this magical little device from SavePowerBills.com to help slash their energy bills. This sophisticated gadget stabilizes electrical currents, reduces dirty electricity, and helps protect your appliances and electronics. Simply plug it into your home's wall outlet to help lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills every month. Countless 5-star reviews back up the notion that this device is one of the most efficient ways to save money while beating the greedy power companies. But there's more. If you order now, you'll also receive 65% off, fast shipping within the USA, hassle-free returns, and last but not least, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. Just go to SavePowerBills.com to take advantage of this limited time deal before they sell out. Once again, that's SavePowerBills.com.
Safe in your house, the tracer you want to get your house in order.
That is correct.
Well, the director of ICE in St. Paul. Justice for
Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good!
Renee Good! Justice for Renee Good! Don't shoot! 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 Don't shoot!
Hey,
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people?
This is the House of
Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you?
So what you just witnessed right there was a clip of a video of left-wing activists, including organizers from the 2020 BLM riots, deciding to storm a church outside of St. Paul, Minnesota, due to the fact that they have come under the impression that this church was somehow coordinating with ICE. Now, there's a specific person that apparently they're accusing of being affiliated with ICE who was not present at this moment in time. However, the people who were present were at worship, and as you could see based on the video, they were clearly and obviously being intimidated by these left-wing agitators who demanded that they pledge fealty to the Somali fraudsters that are stealing all their tax dollars through the Minnesota state government and their various government programs.
You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment. Exactly. Renee Good! Renee Good!
Now, this video is horrific from every single angle, and in fact, if you actually freeze frame at different points in time, one of the things that you'll notice is that there's a lot of terrified children that don't understand exactly what is happening right here, but the left-wing activists don't give a damn. They don't respect your house of worship, so they decided that they were entitled to do this because guess what? Everything that has been shown to them in the last 5 years in this country, 6 years actually, has given them the impression that they can get away with anything. Remember, the Black Lives Matter riots were not punished, they were actually rewarded, and in fact, many of these activist groups ended up getting settlements from various cities around the country, some of the largest settlements in the history of those cities, as a reward for stirring up all sorts of crap, and again, causing billions upon billions of dollars worth of damage. But unfortunately for them, there's a new sheriff in town, and guess what? Pam Bondi has decided she's going to respond to this, because we have specific laws to prevent this from happening. They were actually put into place in order to stop the Klan from disrupting black churches, and what an amazing irony that now the left-wing activists, the supposed anti-racist, Black Lives Matter organizers themselves will be charged under the Klan Act, and I'm absolutely 100% here for it. But before we break this down, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit as a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with immigrants. You do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting protesting this attack on humanity. Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving.
So the man you're seeing right there in the beard, who of course had to include his face in this particular video as he berates and intimidates random people at this particular church that he decided to target because of perceived political differences, is a guy called William Kelly. And he is an obnoxious activist who has been going around on television ever since he caught wind of the fact that what he did might actually be illegal, and saying that he wasn't actually intimidating anybody at all whatsoever at this particular location, even though, again, his own video betrays his lies.
They're going to come at me with charges, and I'm not scared of that. There's no base for these charges. I did not block them from, their service. Been real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie, and he hangs out with Kristi Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian. Act like one.
Now, in addition to trying to gaslight us about what he actually did and recorded himself doing at this moment in time, he also ended up saying that he wasn't afraid of the federal government arresting him.
So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it.
Daring Pam Bondi and the Justice Department in order to do so. Well, guess what? Wishes happen to be horses today, William, because you have been in fact arrested and you've been charged with violating the Klan Act. In addition to that, we also have a Black Lives Matter organizer that ended up setting up this particular event that was participating in the attack on this particular church under the entitlement that was granted to her from being able to participate in the BLM riots of 2020. And she ended up going on television and making the case that they weren't really doing anything of the sort like disrupting the church. In reality, they just came in to join in on the prayer.
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, "Shame, shame." And that is when I led us and chants "Justice for Renee Good" and "Hands Up, Don't Shoot." So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
All right. And obviously, I'm not going to dispute your saying what happened. I'm merely describing how CNN is describing it. I obviously wasn't in the room.
So first of all, for Aaron Burnett or anyone on CNN to pretend that this version of events in any way resembles reality when we can actually see the videos for ourselves, and that somehow what's actually going on is that the pastor of the church was the person who was at issue here, even though, again, it's his church. He was giving his sermon. He was interrupted by these absolute idiots. And again, they also did the hands up, don't shoot thing, which was a lie that dates back to the Michael Brown incident of 2014 that was debunked thoroughly within the first 8 pages of the Department of Justice report on Michael Brown. But yet 12 years later, we're still hearing about this absolute nonsense. Is asinine in every possible way. But again, what do you expect from CNN? What do you expect from the news agency that propagandizes on their behalf? And by the way, these people are being kind in this particular interview, but make no mistake about it. They're going out all over television and anywhere they can get in front of a microphone and making the case that they had to stop this church because
Energy bills are rising at a historic rate, and there's no end in sight. That's why tens of thousands are using this amazing little device from SavePowerBills.com. It's a small but smart gadget that stabilizes electrical currents, reduces dirty electricity, and helps protect your electronics. Just plug it into your home's wall outlet to help lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills every month. Order now to get 65% off plus many free bonuses before they sell out by going to SavePowerBills.com. That's SavePowerBills.com. Order now. now.
This church was full of white supremacists. And how do you know this church was full of white supremacists? Well, because when the psychopaths ended up storming the church and chanting all these ridiculous false Black Lives Matter slogans, and then started confronting random parishioners and asking them to pledge allegiance to the Somalis, these people seemed rather upset. Now look, obviously this is disgusting and reprehensible behavior, and this is why we have laws in order to prevent people from doing this. By the way, Minnesota has state laws that are to prevent people from doing this. However, they're not prosecuting this, much in the same way that they don't prosecute the Somali fraud cases within their state. But as we can see from the Biden administration, when Democrats are in power and they want to target legitimate Republican protesters, they have no qualms about abusing federal law in order to punish those people. I've talked about this before, but I will mention it again. But the Biden administration used the FACE Act in order to target Christian protesters in their 80s that were outside in the hallway of an abortion clinic or building that had an abortion clinic in it. They were singing hymns and whatnot, and they were charged with federal crimes because of the premise that they were obstructing people's fundamental constitutional rights. Now, this was an egregious violation. The Trump administration ended up pardoning these individuals as soon as he took office. However, the law that these people violated is much more clear-cut. It's actually the Klan Act, which was meant to prevent people from intimidating and disrupting and directing you away from your fundamental rights as outlined in the Constitution, including your freedom to worship. And there's actually a couple of key elements of the Klan Act that we have to examine to determine whether or not this was a violation, and I want to get into that so you guys can understand what's actually going on here. So according to this law that Pam Bondi says that she's charging these people with, which is 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights, a violation occurs if two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or because of his having so exercised the same. Now, the penalty for this crime is a fine or imprisonment for up to 10 years, and the only things you need in order to prove this crime is, one, you have a conspiracy, which is an agreement between two or more people as defined by this particular law. Two, you have intent, meaning that they intentionally went to a location where people are practicing their constitutional rights. By the way, this has to occur in the United States of America, its territories and whatnot, and obviously a church outside of St. Paul definitely qualifies. And of course, the people have to be participating in a fundamental right that is secured to them by law or by the United States Constitution. Obviously, the right to worship is secured by both. And by the way, this isn't remotely a stretch of the law's original purpose, because back in the day when they put the Klan Act into place, one of the ways that people were being targeted was while they were at worship in historically black churches. So the Klan would go and storm the churches, force people out. Sometimes they would burn down the church while the people were actually inside, which is one of the reasons why there's higher penalties if somebody dies as a result of this. And this is the exact issue that the Congress was trying to address. And guess what? Fast forward to 2026, and these people are participating in the same exact behavior. Now, of course, there's a lot of people who are going to bring up Don Lemon. And let's be clear, Don Lemon is an absolute scumbag in every possible way. He definitely knew what was going down. He was very likely working with these individuals beyond the level of a media personality. And then after the fact, he went on shows like Jennifer Welch's show in order to smear these people as evil white racists, saying that they were angry at him because he was a gay black man.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Don Lemon, I know you want to play the victim here. I know you want to pretend that you weren't the aggressor, but obviously you were in this scenario, and they were angry at you for storming their church, for interrupting their service, for sticking a camera in their face, trying to interview and guilt people who you were forcing out of their house of worship in order to make a political point, and that's ridiculous, absurd, and asinine.
I'm speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going.
But setting that aside, there's actually reporting that a judge in the Minneapolis area actually rejected the government's bid in order to lay charges against Don Lemon as well. And this is likely due to the fact that Don Lemon is a known media personality. And while I do believe that Don Lemon was in fact coordinating with these people, because he was in fact coordinating with these people, he's getting them donuts and all that stuff. He said that the people behind this were his dear, dear friends and whatnot. In reality, I actually think it's a good thing that the judge is not allowing charges against Don Lemon, because he is in the media, and we do have freedom of the press in this country. And even though obviously, in my opinion, Don Lemon went well beyond the bounds of a journalist, which is unsurprising because he's a crap journalist, I do think it's actually more hilarious that his own footage is going to be used to convict the activists that he was supporting in this Klan Act case, and Don Lemon isn't going to be able to be the martyr and try to sacrifice himself or say that he is being prosecuted by the Trump administration, even though, again, you could probably make a legitimate case against him. I think in the name of actually protecting media figures, it's better that we don't do that in general, from a pragmatic way, even though, again, I understand the argument to the contrary. Now, of course, I want to know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below. Do you want these people to be subject to fines, or do you want them to serve the full 10 years? Because it's not just about this particular instance, it's about the Black Lives Matter riots that were never punished. What do you think about the state of Minnesota refusing to prosecute, even though they have their own laws that cover this kind of behavior, and these people obviously violated those? Again, all your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the left wing going down after terrorizing a church congregation in order to get back at the evil ICE enforcement. Till next time.